It was Meghan Markle.
It is refusing, it seems, to play along with Meghan Markle's games, and that's proven, especially for me, with this staged Dodgers video that has just been released.
It's the interview no one ever expected. For years, Prince Harry stood unshaken beside Meghan Markle through royal chaos, brutal headlines, and media storms that turned them into heroes one day and villains the next. But now, everything feels different. In what's being called his most emotional and brutally honest confession yet, Harry has finally broken his silence about what truly happened behind palace doors and what Meghan did that changed everything. And trust me, it's far darker than anyone could have imagined.
Necessarily her recollection.
Reputationally, for him, it was a massive turn-off.
The world has watched Harry change before our eyes. From the playful prince everyone adored to the distant, drained man he's become today. But according to one insider who spoke to The Telegraph, Harry's finally connecting the dots, seeing the truth he once couldn't. Manipulation, control, and a masterful rewrite of his entire story. But this didn't unfold overnight. It all traces back to last week when Harry attended a private wellness summit in California, a gathering focused on men's mental health. Everything seemed ordinary until a journalist asked one simple, piercing question that froze the room. Do you ever feel like you lost yourself in love?
So, I miss the UK. I miss parts of the UK, of course I do. And I think that it's really quite sad that I won't be able to show, my children my homeland.
Harry went silent. The confident smile faded, and with a deep, trembling breath that seemed to echo through the room, he finally spoke. Yeah, there was a time I didn't even recognize the man in the mirror. I thought I was chasing freedom. But sometimes, freedom feels a lot like a cage. The audience froze. You could hear every breath, every heartbeat. Those words, raw, heavy, and unfiltered, spread across the internet within minutes. Freedom feels a lot like a cage. And it didn't take long for the world to guess exactly who he was talking about.
To look at a timeline of what's happened for Meghan, because over time she started off, and there was no question that she had, her values were about forwarding Meghan.
Within hours, royal watchers were tearing apart every word. Psychologists gave their theories. Former aides whispered to tabloids. One even told the Daily Mail that's the closest he's ever come to admitting regret. And honestly, it's not hard to see why. Sources close to the Sussex circle say Harry and Meghan's relationship has hit a breaking point, one that's been quietly building for months inside their Montecito mansion. The cracks, they say, began showing after the chaos of their failed Netflix projects. Meghan wanted to push harder, more documentaries, more deals, more spotlight. But Harry wanted silence. He wanted peace. He's tired, one insider admitted. He's drained from being the voice, the symbol, the husband who never says no. And now he's finally realizing how much of himself he lost protecting someone who maybe never needed saving at all. That right there is the gut punch.
Picture of when they were at the softball and the kiss cam came on. And a lot of people have commented on this, but I want to comment on the specific technique. And the specific technique is misdirection and love.
For the longest time, Harry believed he was the hero, the knight saving Meghan from a cold, rigid royal system. But what he's slowly coming to realize in quiet, painful moments is that maybe he was the one who needed saving all along. This truth didn't hit him all at once. It crept in, little by little, especially as Harry watches everything change around him. His family has moved forward. His brother is thriving. Even King Charles has softened, focusing on legacy over old grudges. Meanwhile, Harry feels trapped not in London, not in LA, but stuck in a place between worlds in limbo.
Flanked by the two of us.
Just surrounded by love.
And Meghan? According to one insider, she's doubling down on control like never before. Everything in their world runs through her, from the projects Harry takes, to who he talks to what he's allowed to say publicly. It's all filtered. She's terrified he'll go off script. And that's exactly what he did at that summit, sparking chaos behind the scenes. Within minutes of the clip blowing up online, Meghan's team went into full damage control, calling PR experts, reaching out to journalists, even contacting summit organizers to spin his words. But by then, the internet had already exploded. People called it Harry's slip of truth. And behind closed doors, Meghan was furious. She confronted him, said one source, accusing him of recklessness, feeding the tabloids. But for the first time in years, Harry didn't back down. It seems Harry is starting to fight back. Look at his sudden silence during joint interviews, his solo charity appearances, his quieter, more distant presence. It's the picture of a man breaking free from an emotional chokehold. But here's where it gets even messier. After his candid comment, Harry stayed behind at the summit for a private chat and, according to witnesses, dropped another bombshell. When asked about his mental health, he said, "Healing means telling the truth, even when it hurts people you love." Those words hit like a punch. For those who know Harry's story, it was a veiled confession, a man torn between loyalty and freedom. Tabloids pounced immediately. Headlines screamed, Harry's cryptic confession hints at marital turmoil, and Prince finally admits pain behind Meghan marriage. And insiders say those headlines aren't far from the truth. Harry's closest friends have noticed a huge change. He's withdrawn, reflective, spending more time alone. A former military buddy told the Mirror he used to be the guy cracking jokes and buying the next round. Now he just stares into his drink. It's like he's somewhere else. And if that wasn't heartbreaking enough, he reportedly told that friend something chilling. "Sometimes I miss being invisible." Imagine that. The prince who gave up a palace for privacy, now wishing he could disappear completely.
It's revealed why Prince William was correct to warn Prince Harry about his relationship with Meghan Markle.
Here's the bitter truth. Harry's chase for freedom turned into the very cage that trapped him. The luxury deals, the documentaries, the worldwide interviews, they were supposed to give him purpose. Instead, they became chains made of gold and guilt. And Meghan? She's watching him unravel, but insiders say her focus isn't on saving their marriage, it's on saving the brand. She's terrified that this new, honest Harry could shatter everything they built. A Hollywood insider put it bluntly, if he keeps talking like this, the facade cracks, and once it cracks, it's over. So, is this the beginning of the end? Because Harry isn't just showing emotion, he's exposing the truth. The truth about control, identity, and the brutal cost of love tangled up in fame.
Closest political
the most haunting
allies,
part?
the White House,
He's doing it all in public.
Kind of
Every
ready to
word
move on.
feels like
so
a man
much
testing
faster
the
than
waters, daring to speak without permission for the first time in years. And judging by Meghan's reaction, the damage control, the frantic calls, the silence from Montecito, it's clear this truth bomb can't be contained. Once Harry started speaking, he couldn't stop. What he said next? That's when everything shattered. If Harry's quiet confession at the Wellness Summit sent shockwaves through Montecito, Meghan's response turned those tremors into a full-blown earthquake. The clip exploded online, millions of views in hours. Insiders say Meghan went into meltdown mode. Phones ringing nonstop. PR teams scrambling. Her private assistant reportedly found Meghan pacing barefoot across the marble floor, phone pressed to her ear, barking orders. Get it taken down, no matter how. Flag it. Call the press team. Do something. But it was too late. Harry's words, freedom can look a lot like a cage, were already carved deep into the internet. No spin, no polished joint statement could erase that. For years, Meghan controlled their story. Every headline, every podcast, every carefully staged camera shot, meticulously crafted to keep their image perfect. But this time, she lost control. The script slipped right through her fingers, and it drove her to the edge. Sources close to the couple reveal Meghan confronted Harry the moment he walked in from that summit, and what followed was one of their most explosive fights ever. She accused him of betrayal. One insider says she told him, "You made me look manipulative, like some controlling wife." She claimed he destroyed everything they'd built together. But Harry didn't back down. For the first time in ages, he stood firm. "I didn't ruin anything," he reportedly told her. "I just told the truth." Those 6 words hit like a match tossed into a gasoline-soaked room. Meghan stormed out, slamming the door so hard the chandelier shook. But the real blast wasn't just behind closed doors. It exploded online. Royal watchers tore apart their every move. Twitter threads, TikTok breakdowns, YouTube deep dives, all fixated on one thing: Harry is finally cracking. Even the British tabloids, which Harry fought for years, smelled blood. Headlines the next morning were savage. Prince Harry's cryptic confession, trouble in paradise, Sussex fairy tale unraveling, freedom or regret. Harry finally speaks out. And for once, Harry didn't look angry. Close friends say he seemed almost relieved. It's like he's finally letting the truth breathe, one said. Like he's admitting to himself this isn't what he thought it would be. But Meghan wasn't going to let that narrative stick. She unleashed a full-scale PR war, calling in favors, rallying loyal journalists, and commissioning exclusive damage control stories. Within 48 hours, glossy magazines churned out articles painting Harry as emotionally fragile, taken out of context. The spin was ruthless and brilliant. One claimed Harry was just reflecting on old struggles. Another said he'd been misunderstood, worn down by exhaustion. But the public wasn't buying it. The clip spoke for itself. And when Meghan's team scrambled to push the narrative that they were stronger than ever, the comments told a different story. He looks miserable. She's not protecting him anymore. She's protecting herself. Freedom? He looks trapped. Behind closed doors, things were even darker. Friends say Harry withdrew, spending hours alone in the garden or sitting silently by the fireplace, lost in thought. He stopped answering calls from some of Meghan's Hollywood contacts, pulling away from the glamorous world that once defined their new life. He's beginning to see just how isolated he really is. One insider revealed he has no family to turn to, no old friends left, and the only voice he's heard for years is hers. That realization hit like a tidal wave. Once the illusion shatters, once you start questioning what's real, there's no going back. According to multiple sources, Harry quietly reached out to faces from his past, old army buddies, even a former palace aide who'd stayed close. It wasn't about fixing things yet. It was about finding solid ground again, remembering who he was before the noise swallowed him whole. Meanwhile, Meghan was spiraling. Public opinion was shifting fast. Netflix deals dried up. Spotify had already pulled the plug. And now, the one thing she thought she could count on, Harry's loyalty, was slipping away. She began plotting what insiders call a counterattack. A high-profile magazine feature designed to rewrite the story, to recast herself as the misunderstood woman caught in a storm of misogyny and lies. But this time, it wasn't landing. Hollywood wasn't rushing to her defense. Former allies, fashion editors, talk show hosts, A-list friends kept their distance. The tide was turning. The armor of sympathy shielding Meghan had cracked and turned to silence. And in that silence, she started to unravel. One staffer reportedly overheard her on a late-night call, voice breaking. "I gave up everything for him. Everything. And now he's painting me like the villain." But here's the truth. Harry wasn't trying to destroy her. He was trying to find himself. That same week, Harry showed up alone at a private veterans gathering in Santa Barbara. No Meghan. No cameras. Just a quiet room filled with the men and women he once served alongside. People who knew Harry before the royal exit, before the documentaries, before the California sun turned his life into a glossy illusion of freedom, say he looked deeply emotional, sometimes even tearful. At a small gathering of veterans, he confessed, "You don't realize how lost you are until someone takes the compass away. I thought I was doing the right thing, but somewhere along the line, I stopped being me." That moment, raw and unguarded, spread through the veteran community like wildfire. And here's where everything comes full circle. Shortly after, a journalist close to the royals dropped what can only be called the final truth bomb. Behind the scenes, Harry had been quietly collaborating with a publisher on a personal project, one that wasn't approved by Meghan. Not a memoir. Not another documentary. Something raw. Something deeply personal. A project reportedly focused on his identity, on his story, not theirs. In it, Harry explores how love, loss, and loyalty can twist and fracture your sense of self. Those who've seen early excerpts describe it as shockingly honest. This time, he's not telling Meghan's story. He's telling his own. And that more than anything is what terrifies her. Because when the man she once controlled finally starts speaking for himself, the illusion shatters forever. The brand, the fairy tale, the carefully crafted narrative, all of it begins to crumble. And Harry? For the first time in years, he seems ready to let it fall.